5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Very warm good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this discussion, the post-match discussion of for the first T20I, which was played between India and England at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. And post the game, it is England who are 1-0 up, courtesy the emphatic victory as they clinched this first T20I game with their all-round performance. It all started with the toss as Rohit Sharma was rested for a couple of games, and it was Rahul and Shikhar opening for India. England won the toss and invited India to bat first, and the result was the utter failure of the Indian batting lineup. As, only Shreyas Iyer could score 67, and some small contributions from Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant helped India to actually put on a total of 124 for 7 in their quota of 20 overs. And the actually the situation was so bad or so adverse that India were reduced to 22 for 3 after the first 6 overs, the power play, and then it was the cakewalk for England as their openers decided to take on the Indian bowlers, and it was just 15.3 overs which they took to complete or to chase down the target, and the result was that they won with by 8 wickets. Now I have our very own expert, Mr. Shirish Nadkarni, renowned journalist, joining us. Good evening, sir. And
Good evening.
I'm very much sure that as much disgust and as much disappointed as every Indian fan, you are also that much disappointed today. But starting with the basic question, the first question, which was the strategy not on the field but off the field, that the decision to play to not play Rohit Sharma and to rest him for a couple of games. Do you think that it's the right decision against a top-notch T20I side like England?
No, I think it is a wrong decision. It is a similar decision to the kind of rotation policy that England has used, which I see Monty Panesar has joined us. Monty Paji is a proponent of the rotation policy, meaning he has been supporting it. And I have always felt that it's not in England's best interest. The same thing I could say for Rohit Sharma's exclusion today. And if it's a couple of games, then he will not be playing the next game either. And Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan will be forced to open the innings again. I think it's a mistake. To talk about the pitch today, I think it was a pitch which had much more bounce in it than was expected, and not sufficient spin. So India got the combination wrong, and England got the combination right. They went in with so many seamers, and all the seamers extracted excellent bounce from the pitch and made India's life miserable. The second major point I felt was that India should have, like Rohit Sharma always does, play themselves in before going bang, bang, bang. Whereas they went hell for leather right from the beginning, and that hurt them very badly. So they were 3 down with virtually nothing on the board, and you cannot recover from a situation like that in a T20 international. So I think India dug their own grave with the selection as well as the style in which they went in. But this is not to take away anything from England's fabulous bowling performance. They really put the ball in the right place. They utilized the bounce. Mark Wood was fast and furious. Jofra Archer was absolutely on the ball, not as fast as Mark Wood, but on the ball. He bowled really, really well, and didn't allow any of the Indian batsmen to take liberties. Shreyas Iyer did say that the pitch had variable bounce, And yes, there were a whole lot of under edges which we saw in the Indian innings as well as in the English innings. But I don't think one can blame the pitch for that. The fault lies entirely with the Indian batting, and unless they pull up their socks, but India does have this habit of losing the first match of a series,
Yeah,
whether it be a Test
yeah,
series or a T20I series or an ODI series. But they've lost now only three T20I games in their last 16 games. And they'd lost only two in the last 10 games, if you look at the statistics. So, I mean, whatever they've been doing in the past seems to have been the correct thing to do. But today, definitely it was not. And they got smacked on the wrist just as they deserved to have.
yeah. Some excellent points mentioned, especially about the pitch, which was a black soil wicket. So the wicket binded really well and for whole of the game. And don't you think that the Indian players registered themselves for the vaccinations, because with the speed they were rushing towards the dressing room, it almost felt that there was a vaccination drive going on in the dressing room, and they registered for that. And to mention that Shirish has vaccinated himself, so this is
Oh,
also, yeah.
I
So
am
I
in
think,
I'm in the wrong age group, so I definitely needed the vaccine, and I got it last Friday. And
yeah,
there were absolutely no adverse reactions. I did not have any temperature, any body ache, nothing, nothing, nothing. The two crocins that they gave me at the vaccination site are still lying on my mantel shelf, unused. Perhaps when the second dose is administered, I may get some of these symptoms, but I don't think so. I think the germs, the weakened germs that are put into your system through the vaccine, they don't like
yeah.
my system. None of these germs like my system in any case.
Yeah, yeah. Paji also joined us. I think he has some issue connecting, because what I could see that he was joining through his phone today, so he had some issue. But batsmen were rushing towards the dressing room as we talked. But Sirisha, don't you think that it was mixed dismissal as far as Indian batters playing rash shots, along with what you mentioned about England's precise bowling effort?
Like we said, I think all the commentators mentioned the same thing, that the Indian batsmen seem to be in a hurry to play their shots. They just wanted to go hell for leather from the first ball itself. And I don't think that was the right strategy. I think Rohit has got it absolutely down pat. You have 120 balls to play in a T20I. And therefore, even if you take 6, 7 balls to get set, you play by giving the bowlers their due in the initial stages and then open out, you can easily catch up with the asking rate, with the rate that you require to score at. And that shows in Rohit Sharma's scoring rates also. His strike rate is well into the 130s. So that just shows that he husbands his innings extremely well. And that's what India needed to do today. And they missed Rohit at the top of the order. I mean, Shikhar Dhawan has not played for a long time. Even Rahul didn't get too many games on the Australia tour and none in the England tour, although he was in the team, in the Test team. So I think the rust showed. Of course, Rahul didn't have a chance to even show the rust because he got out so quickly, under edging the ball onto the stumps. But Hardik looked very rusty. I mean, he got 19 in 21 balls, which is not quite Hardik's style. He was not timing the ball at all. But I suppose as the series progresses and he gets a couple of games under his belt, his timing will come back, and that feeling in the middle that you need will come back. But Shreyas Iyer played extremely well, really, really well. And
Yeah,
the way he has. Okay, there seems to be a problem with.
the camera.
Click the camera button. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, correct. Yeah, you were visible.
Am
Definitely
I
visible.
visible? I'm not visible to myself.
No, you're not visible to me as well. You're not visible to me as well. Yeah, now it's
There.
perfect.
Now we're okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Shreyas
sir.
Iyer
So,
played well enough to possibly keep Surya Kumar Yadav waiting for another game or two, because there is only one between the two who can take a spot in the 11, unless you drop Hardik Pandya, which I don't think the Indian captain is interested in doing. So yes, Shreyas Iyer batted very well today. But again, his efforts were overshadowed completely by the English batsmen, all of whom contributed. Jason Roy contributed, Butler contributed, Bairstow contributed, and David Milan contributed. All of them did very well, and they lost only 2 wickets while chasing down the target. They had more than 5 overs to spare. So it was a complete, comprehensive victory, a complete shutdown for India.
some points about Rohit Sharma, because Rohit Sharma was the lone batter who performed really well, or batted out of his skin in the Test series as well. And not we also mentioned about trying and testing players, but not at the cost of losing the series. This is also a practice for the World T20. So you should also have the confidence in the players. And most of the players were not in the Test squad. For example, Yuzvendra Chahal, who picked a wicket but leaked many runs. So now coming to what you said about Shreyas Iyer, but 22 for 3, and post that no other batter apart from Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya and Shreyas Iyer could score in double digits. Kohli, last 5 international innings, 3 ducks, no doubt about his class and about the stature of what Kohli is, a modern legend. But do you think now some doubts will appear as soon as it evaporates? It's good, but don't you think that some doubts will appear? I'm not saying in in the minds of Virat Kohli, but in the minds of Indian fans. So your comment on this?
Well, there is no question that Virat Kohli is going through a very poor patch of form, and this has been apparent and manifest right through the Australian tour. I mean, he did get 2 or 3 good innings under his belt, but it was not the kind of Virat Kohli we've been used to seeing in 2018, 2019, where he's got runs by the ton all the time. He hasn't scored 100 now for quite a long time. It must be worrying him. I wonder whether it's unfortunate to say that, but the fact of becoming a first time parent, will that be playing on his mind? Whether the child is keeping him up at night, I don't think this is likely, but certainly, when you get your first baby, your mind does work in different ways, because it gives you a different perspective on life. Having a child of your own is an amazing experience, and you might turn around and say, well, cricket is very secondary, and I don't know whether such a feeling is going through Virat's mind. If so, it would be probably very temporary, and I hope that he gets over it, because, as you said, he is a class player. There's no question. So form is temporary, class is permanent. This is what Gavaskar had said a long time back, and it holds true for all the good players. And Virat Kohli is an outstanding player. There's absolute no question about it. He's been top of the charts on all three in all three formats for quite some time. So I hope that he gets over this and starts getting runs the way he should be supposed to be. And he also has had some pretty bad luck in his dismissals, meaning an outstanding catch, or a ball that bounces extra and goes through,
or which keeps low,
or which keeps low, or which turns too much. There was one ball which turned so much and caught the outer edge and went to the wicketkeeper Foakes in the last Test series. So yes, when you're down on your luck, then a lot of things go wrong for you. I hope that patch goes away for Virat soon, because I am just as much a fan of Virat Kohli as any of the other fans in India, and I really, really hope that he will get runs the way he should be.
Yeah, we also hope that his lean patch gets over soon, and he smashes those cover drives and those wristy flicks with his uh, supple wrists. So now, one question for the Indian team before moving to England's fielding and batting performances. Don't you think that India missed the trick by playing three spinners, especially in a day-night game where dew is a very, very substantial factor, decisive factor?
I said that in my preliminary comments when we started the show that I think India read the pitch wrong. They went in with three spinners, whereas England stacked their side with seamers, and they had only Adil Rashid as the lone spinner. So they
Yeah,
had five pace bowlers, including Ben Stokes, and all of them performed well. All of them used the bounce well. So I think they read the pitch better, and we did not read the pitch well. This is a reverse of what had happened in one of the test series where England stacked their side again with pacemen, and actually it was a severe spinning wicket in Chennai. It was India read that correctly, and England read that wrong. Whereas today the boot was on the other foot. India read the pitch wrong, and England read it right.
So what was happening with in England in the test games happened with India today. One positive, if we can pull out from this game, it was Hardik Pandya's bowling. So if Hardik Pandya bowls and completes or gives at least 2 to 3 overs, India will actually have a cushion to play another batter. So do you think
Yes,
that
but
this aspect
it
will
was
help
good to
India?
see him. It was good to see him bowling again. But did you see the quality of his bowling? There was a lot of bowling on the left-hander's leg side, which
Yeah,
went for wides, and he wasn't particularly in control of all the balls. But it's a good thing that he started bowling
yeah,
again. He did not seem to have been dropping too much in his pace. He was bowling at 125 to 135 kmph right through, which is normally his bowling speed. So yes, if he can give 2 to 3 overs in a T20 match to the Indian team, it can be very useful, and that is what he's there for. He's there as an all-rounder.
yeah,
He's not there just for his batting. He's there definitely as an all-rounder. That is what gives
yeah.
balance to the team.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously the sample size which you said that he wasn't there with full control, but as and when he progresses, he'll gather that control and bowl with much more discipline. Now coming to
Sure.
England, the second discipline of England, their fielding, which I don't want that it should go under the radar, because with fielding, I think they stopped 15 to 20 runs today,
Oh
and they were
yes.
quite good. Even Indian fielders were good, but they were on the losing side. So talking
Well,
about
you had
England,
Shardul Thakur letting one ball go through his legs to the boundary, which should have been not even a single. I mean, he looked very sheepish after that, and any player would feel bad at having let a ball through his legs like that. But the English fielding was top class, really good, very very good. They were very very well committed. I think the best part of the Indian fielding was the save that KL Rahul made on the boundary line, where he threw himself literally in the air. He caught the ball, threw it back in, and as he was landing outside the boundary line to save 2 runs. Now, the kind of athleticism that is required for that kind of fielding is tremendous. So I take my hat off to Rahul for that particular one piece of fielding that he did.
yeah. So now coming down to batting and the way they chased, because chasing 125 is not such a hard task, but the way they chased, they dominated for the first 6 overs. They were 50 for no loss. We were all talking about the destruction which Jason Roy, Butler, and Bairstow can cause. And today, what we saw was an attacking approach against the spinners, which was missing in the test game. So today, England batters were back with intent. And do you think this intent was the most successful tool which they used against the spinners today?
You saw the difference in Bairstow's batting. That is the one thing that you need to look at. Bairstow in the Test series was a bundle of nerves because he was trying to defend, and that is not his game. Here he had complete license to kill. He was like a James Bond 007 out there in the middle. That he had the opportunity of hitting right from the start, knowing that there were people to follow like David Malan, Ian Morgan, there's Ben Stokes, there's Bairstow, there's a Sam Curran, there's a batting lineup stretching all the way down, and he did not have the fear of getting out. Even if he got out, he knew that there was enough strength in the England batting to chase down 125. If the total had been somewhere in the region of 170, 180, then there might have been a question on what approach Bairstow would follow. But the way Jason Roy and Butler batted, they put together 72 runs for the first wicket, and they completely took the game away from India. India did not have a host of a chance after that. So their batting is very, very good, and it's going to be troubling us. We said this in the preview of this entire series the other day, that they bat very well all the way down. They're a extremely balanced side. It's not for nothing that they're number one in the world in the T20 charts. So we are number two. So this battle between the number one and number two side, if the first game ends the way it did in a thumping 8-wicket victory for England with 5 overs plus to spare, then unless India pulls up its socks very quickly, there is going to be hell to pay. And we talked about a 3-2 victory line for India at the end of the series. I don't know whether I can still stick to that prediction. After seeing England play today, I would reverse my prediction and say that England will probably win this series by at least a 3-2 margin, if not 4-1.
See, this thing was a Michael Vaughan thing, and you stole this, you copied, you forced this from Michael Vaughan. This is something which Michael Vaughan is used to doing right from the Australian tour. But we also talked about sixes, which would rain. But obviously, the first game was a low-scoring one, and now this team, as you said, is a team which would give run for its money to India. And that's why I termed yesterday that it is battle of equals, number one versus number two. And now, sir, Rohit Sharma, everyone knows, as the skipper said, that he'll rest for one more game. So for India, leave aside the tactical changes, the changes in the 11. Who do you see replacing whom in the 11? Do you see one spinner going down and maybe another batter being included in the side? Because this has been an approach of Virat Kohli to actually repair the aspect which is more damaged. And today, what you saw, that batting was more damaged, and he'll go for a repair.
If you saw Akshar Patel in the Test series was almost unplayable. I mean, he was landing the ball so well that the batsmen were finding it difficult to score off him, let alone, keeping him out of their wickets. I think Akshar Patel may be the first casualty. I think Akshar Patel probably will be dropped in favor of another batsman, a pure batsman. Maybe Surya Kumar Yadav could come in along with Shreyas Iyer so that the batting is lengthened. If Hardik Pandya is able to give us his 4 overs quota, then there should be no problem.
Okay.
And
so this is the
yeah,
squad.
these are the now you already have Shardul Thakur and Bhuvneshwar Kumar forming the pace attack. If the pace attack is to be strengthened, then you require somebody like Natarajan. Now, we said Natarajan had a shoulder niggle, which is why he didn't play today. Otherwise, one left armer, one right armer would have been the ideal combination. Like England had Sam Curran doing the left arm seamer responsibilities, using the left arm seam. I think I think Virat will probably try to lengthen the batting
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
drop one of the spinners. And the the man who goes out, in my opinion, would be Akshar Patel, because he's still new to international cricket, relatively new. Washington Sundar has been playing well, and Washington Sundar is useful as a bowler, a fielder, and a batsman.
Yeah.
And you can't drop Yuzvendra Chahal, because he's a wicket-taking bowler. Even if he goes for runs, he invariably gets you 2 to 3 wickets in an innings. So you can't drop him. And Bhuvneshwar again has come back after a long stretch out of the team, almost 2 years, due to injury, one injury or the other. And he will take
So,
a little time
mhm.
to get back into the swim of things. But you need to persist with him, because he is really your bowler who will help you uh, in the initial stages as well as at the depth.
Yeah, so with Akshar Patel today we saw him bowling with the new ball, which normally Washington Sundar does for Team India. So instead of Akshar Patel, can Washington Sundar be dropped because Akshar Patel can give you or can bowl in tandem with Yuzvendra Chahal in those middle overs between over number 7 to 15?
I think this is basically Virat Kohli's call. Between Akshar Patel and Washington Sundar, there is England has almost as many left-handers as right-handers. They have Sam Curran, they have David Malan. Uh, if they have more right-handers, then Akshar Patel would probably be more useful
Yeah,
to
that's why.
Virat Kohli. Uh,
Yeah,
yes, perhaps you have a point there that Akshar Patel could be taken in preference
because
to Washington Sundar for at
one
least
more
one
thing,
game.
because if we look at bowling with the new ball, then Akshar Patel's ball almost skids in with the angle instead of turning away for the right hander. So if we will bowl in the middle over where the pitch has been used by the fast bowlers and in tandem with Yuzvendra Chahal, I think do you think that he can purchase something more out of the wicket?
See, this is the role that Ravindra Jadeja used to play. Ravindra
Yeah,
Jadeja was a very integral part of the T20 side, T20 as well as the one day side, because he was so accurate. He gave nothing away, and he's also a
yeah.
skiddy bowler. So, Akshar Patel is being asked to fill very big shoes. It's not easy to fill Ravindra Jadeja's shoes. And
Yeah.
Jadeja must be very close to getting completely okay. So he may be back for the T20I series, I feel.
Looks
Uh,
difficult. Looks difficult as of now because the team has been declared, and let's see if there is any update. I'll obviously update you if there is
I have no idea
some
whether he's
improvement. Some
fit yet, because there is still a question mark over his fitness and Mohammad Shami's fitness. These are the two very good bowlers who unfortunately have been injured on the Australia run, and thanks to the Douglas Jardine like tactics used by the Australian bowlers in the last couple of tests. That was really, it was shameful. I don't know how Australia can look themselves in the mirror and say, we played fair. You bowl at numbers 9, 10, and 11, complete bodyline bowling. You with the idea of intimidating them and injuring them. You injured
yeah,
Shami by
yeah.
hitting him on the hand. You injured Ravindra Jadeja by hitting him on the hand. That was, this was the ugly Aussie at his worst. I'm sorry to say this, but I think I'm only echoing what even Sunny Gavaskar said, uh, that this is not cricket. This is not the way that I mean, if our people, our B team as it was, came through that fire and won the Melbourne and Gabba tests, it is complete hats
Sir,
off
it
to
is an
Ajinkya
even
Rahane.
C team, not even B. It was C
Yes,
because second
yes,
test also many players got injured and Virat
that's
also
true.
went back.
That's true. That's true. So, I mean, it was one of the finest chapters in Indian cricket.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I only hope that Jadeja and Shami can recover as quickly as possible and return to their rightful place in the team. They are required. They would be required even in the T20I World Cup that we have in India later this year. I don't know whether Shami might make the cut, but Ravindra Jadeja is an absolute must. He's an absolute must.
See,
You can't
you
lose him.
mentioned about Douglas Jardine's bodyline tactics. In that series, also, Sir Donald Bradman averaged more than 50. So, in this series, also, Australia used that tactic, and even then, India came out winning. And it was a thumping victory, as you mentioned, one of the most, or rather, the most beautiful test chapters in Indian cricket.
Yeah,
Uh,
but you mentioned Don Bradman going in for 50 runs. He's an Aussie, and yeah, he was the greatest batsman in the world. He finished with an average as close to 100 as you can think of,
yeah,
99.94. If he'd got
yeah,
4 runs in his final Test innings, 70th
yeah,
Test innings, he would have had an average of 100. So I mean,
100.
he was something
Extraordinary
out of the
average.
ordinary, and even he was restricted to 50. So that shows how successful Douglas Jardine's tactics were
Mhm.
in bodyline bowling. Anyway,
Yeah, that's the reason why the batters of 70s, 80s, mid 80s are considered to be so great. That's the reason why Sunny Gavaskar is respected, and the grandeur which he has in Indian cricket, or rather world cricket, especially the way Windies, the people in West Indies respect and have reverence for Sunny Gavaskar, the way he batted there. With just a floppy hat and a skull cap.
yes, and that skull cap, as you know, has been donated to the MCC Marylebone Cricket Club Museum, and
Yeah,
it was examined by a doctor who turned around and said, "It is pretty apparent that Mr. Sunil Gavaskar was never hit on his head during his entire career, because if he was wearing the skull cap for protection, there would have been no protection at all. The skull cap is absolutely useless." So, I mean, that showed the man's technique. And he was short. So he literally used to keep his eye on the ball and sway out of the way. And the courage that it required, the technique that it required, nobody in India has been able to replicate. Not even Sachin Tendulkar, not even Sehwag, nobody, none. I mean, Sunil Gavaskar was something out of this world. The greatest opening batsman India has ever produced. No question.
yeah, a man of his own kind, as we say. That there's no Sachin Tendulkar, there is no Virat Kohli, there's no other Virat Kohli, so there is no other Sunny Gavaskar as well, and that were totally agreed that they were the sunny days of Indian cricket.
Absolutely.
Now coming back to this India v England series, we discussed about India. Now talking about England, I think there will be no changes for England as they are the winning side, and they'll actually not repair something which still not damaged.
They don't need to change anybody. Their batting lineup was not even tested today. You had only four of the England batsmen out on view. You
Yeah,
didn't have Ben Stokes, you didn't have Ian Morgan. None of these people came out to bat. So why should they change? Why should they change a winning combination, especially a
yeah, yeah,
combination that has given them such a thumping win? No, it is for India now to either rethink their strategy or to make one or two, strategic changes which will give them some more of the play, so to say. Uh,
yeah.
if not the edge, at least they should be competitive. Today they were
More
not
competitive.
competitive. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
not competitive today. It was that sad. I mean, we kept revising the targets as the Indian batting progressed. We said, okay, maybe they'll do 150. Then the
yeah,
commentators turned around and said, oh, okay, looks like 140. 140 might be enough on this pitch, which has the variable bounce. Then it came down to 130. Finally, it finished at 124. So that was just not being competitive at all.
yeah.
This
In
was a
my
pitch,
mind, also.
this was a pitch on which they should have got a minimum of 160. This is
Yeah.
the feeling that to make England worry a little bit and to put them on their mettle, they needed at least 160 runs. They were at least 35 to 40 runs short.
If the score would have been 160, the spinners could have actually got some punches out of the wicket, even if there was dew. But still, the spinners could have extracted some punches out of the wicket, bowling in the middle overs. But there was no
I think
use.
they
As
did mention that the dew was absolutely minimal. There wasn't too much dew there.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
yeah,
one doesn't know how the dew factor will affect the teams in the remainder part of the series. I don't know if
yeah.
Virat wins the toss 100%, he's going to make England bat first.
Yeah.
And if England win the toss, they will definitely make India bat first. So I think this series is going to see the toss winning team putting the other team into bat initially. And
So
then
this series hinges on the toss winning team, because this decision the toss winning team makes. And now, as far as the trying and testing is concerned, so for the next game, India will have to field their best 11, don't you think? And in one of the comments made by Virender Sehwag, he also mentioned that you have to go with the mindset of winning the series first. So winning the series first, as we have 5 games, so you should have played Rohit Sharma and fielded your best 11 in the first game, because winning the first game gives you a boost in the 5 match series or the 3 match series.
I couldn't agree more. In fact, you need to bring Rohit Sharma back for the second game. I feel. Even if Virat has said that Rohit should sit it out for 2 games, I think he should reverse his stand and say, no, I think we'll bring Rohit back because we respect England. We respect what England did in the first game. And therefore, out of respect for that, we will definitely put up our best 11. And in that, Rohit
but
Sharma has to have a place.
but do you envisage Virat doing this with the
Sadly, I
mannerisms
don't. Sadly, I don't. He's very hidebound in many ways, and I feel that probably for the second test also you'll have Shikhar Dhawan and Rahul opening the innings. I feel, yeah,
yeah.
because it's not often that he turns around and says, "Yes, I was mistaken, and we should do this." He's not a man who easily admits to a mistake, says sorry, and gets on with that. He's not that's not part of his DNA. It seems to me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Also, this Rohit Sharma almost warming the bench and resting for the first couple of games. Obviously, it's a clear hint that the 2 openers for the World T20 will be Rohit and Rahul, as he mentioned in the presser yesterday. But along with that, he also mentioned that Rohit might rest. So Rohit, this is very much clear now, sir, that Shikhar Dhawan will be the third opener going heading to the World T20.
Yes, yes. He has said as much. Virat Kohli has said as much in his presser that Rohit and Rahul are our first choice openers and Shikhar is our third opener. He has said it in so many words. So
Yeah,
that's how it is.
yeah. So
But
it's a clear message.
I think he is just taking this series as a sort of testing ground more than wanting to win the series, and I think that is a very wrong approach to use, especially against the world's best team.
Yeah,
You need to try and beat that team so that you go into the T20 World Cup with your confidence on an all-time high. If you lose by a 4-1 margin or even a 3-2 margin to England in this series, your confidence is not going to be at that all-time high that
yeah,
you need
yeah.
going into the World Cup. So
Also, do you think that instead focusing on trying and testing the players in every match, let's focus on the first 3 games and win the series first, and for the
yes, yes,
couple of
yes,
games
yes.
you can
And then try
obviously.
your permutations and combinations. I would have done that. Yes, definitely. Concentrate on winning the series first and then put your bench strength on for the fourth and fifth games. If you can win 3-0, then it doesn't
Yeah,
matter if you lose the last 2 games, you have still won the series three by 3 matches to whatever, to nil, to 1, to 2, whatever.
yeah.
Yes, but they
So
don't seem to be doing that. They seem hell bent on losing the first game of every damn series they play. It's very irritating. Really, really irritating.
Yeah, it's quite becoming a norm for Indian cricket team, losing the first game of the series and then coming back from behind. So let's hope that this is actually the possibility here, and India comes back tough and hard at the Englishmen, because it's not going to be easy for India to battle this English team, which looks quite not only prepared but also quite you can say adapted to this situation in India. So let's hope we'll be back on the match day after tomorrow, and I hope that Paji will be here with his all technical issues sorted out, and BK will also be here because today he had some match referee meetings. That's why he couldn't he couldn't participate in the discussion today. We'll have them on board from day after tomorrow. So that's it, guys. Thanks a lot for joining in. Thanks a lot, Sirisa, for joining in.
Okay.
Tune in day after tomorrow. Subscribe the channel. Press the bell icon so that you get notified as and when we go live, because there's so much going in cricket. We have the Legend series also going on. So have a look at that series as well. And then we'll meet day after tomorrow, because one of our experts, Mr. Monty Panesar, is playing the series, and obviously the Indian legends. In the likes of Sachin Tendulkar, Mohammad Kaif, Yuvraj Singh, all are playing in that series. So have a look at the series and enjoy the series tomorrow. And day after tomorrow, we'll be back with this India v England post-match discussion. Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.